All these areas hit with a lot of wind and also tree and power line damage. So a lot of folks may even be without power this afternoon. Well, let me show you the latest graphic that we have for you. And again, this is not updated to include the damage across Pennsylvania. This is mostly from this morning pre-dawn, as a matter of fact. But you can see where they got hit across New York State and even into New England. For proof of that, we'll take you into Salem, New Hampshire, where after a line of thunderstorms developed and produced damage, we actually had this same line move east towards Salem, New Hampshire, and cause the problems with the lightning that you see here. Strong winds downing numerous trees and power lines, and the severe weather ended obviously this morning as the cold front pushed on through. Let me take you into Syracuse, New Hampshire. This is just in. This is aerials out of Syracuse, New York. Now, this is the line that developed earlier before it pushed into Salem. 2 people lost their lives here, 13 others across the area injured, 1 critically. 75 mile-per-hour winds, 80,000 customers in the Syracuse area without power. And you can see the tremendous devastation that we had here. Look at that size of that building. That's a brick building there, obviously enduring some incredible damage. No doubt hurricane force winds moving through Syracuse, New York this morning. The threat for Syracuse over to Salem has shifted down to the south, and right now it is focused right in on the tri-state area. Let me go ahead and show you that we have what we have moving in here, and you can see an area of thunderstorms from Hartford all the way back into the Poconos, or excuse me, into the Catskills, mind you, and then down across the mountains of New Jersey, the Hamburg Mountains there, and all the way down into Philadelphia. I've got a Doppler radar here I can show you which closes in a little bit better on New York City. Let's go ahead to our other source, and I'll show you that Doppler radar if we can do that, and you can see what we have. Here again, the Doppler radar out of Long Island. Big U.S. Open right now in Flushing, New York. You can bet they're keeping an eye on this line, and actually in about 30 to 40 minutes it should be pushing right into Flushing. So you've got about 30 to 40 minutes to react at the most as these storms continue to push to the east. Warnings out for Bergen, also Passaic, Morris County, Hunterdon County, Somerset County, as these storms continue to race east across New Jersey. And you will notice several of the storms are quite strong, and that's indicated by the pink here as they continue to push on off to the east, especially this cell here in western Somerset County. Keep an eye on that as that continues to move to the east. Also, people on the beaches need to keep an eye out because these storms could easily affect them within the next 40 minutes or so. Let's go back to the graphics, and we have a severe thunderstorm watch all the way from the tri-state area on out across southern New England, mainly south of the Mass Pike, as this cold front continues to race on off toward the southeast. And it is not uncommon for storms to also develop back in the high instability area, which may occur later on this afternoon. So Pittsburgh, Charleston, back down to Lexington, you're not quite out of the woods yet, but right now the big show is obviously with the squall line as it continues to push through New Jersey and also up into southern Connecticut. So right now most of these storms have not gone severe, but they could in a big hurry as everything continues to race on off toward the east. So you'll notice what's happening to our line again too, especially on some of these later pictures. It went from being more of a linear line or vertically line. Now it's got a little bit more of a bend to it. So perhaps another stronger core of winds is beginning to punch on in, and that could mean some big problems for Middlesex County, eventually Monmouth County, Union County, so Newark. Keep an eye out on eventually downtown New York as all this continues to race on off to the east at 40 to 50 miles per hour. The wider view, even keeping an eye on the rain in upstate, if you're traveling the northway this afternoon, from Poughkeepsie up to Albany, it is just a steady rain, and even up into New England as well. More rainfall into Vermont and also New Hampshire. And you'll notice our severe weather threat actually continues till midnight tonight. And even along the cold front, there could be a few strong storms, as I mentioned, pulsing up southern PA, West Virginia, and Ohio, even though we have not gotten any indications of that yet. Look at this, folks. Basically from Seaside, New Jersey, all the way down to Cape May, you have a beautiful afternoon. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of sunshine here, and the line off to the northwest is almost unbeknownst. But as those high clouds filter in, it will not be long after that the actual squall line itself pushes on through. So hang in there. Big improvements coming with the first major shot of fall heading into the northeast as we work our way into the next 24 hours. For more weather information, we've got weather.com on your computer. You can get there and you can link up to all different other areas of interest for you, thunderstorms, hurricanes, and even our safe side tips in case you need a last-minute tip on what to do with this squall line coming through. Right now, let's head back to the studio and find out what Lisa has to say about the rest of your Labor Day.
Thanks, Jim. Jim Cantore will join us again for another update at the bottom of the hour. Now, this Weather Center is brought to you at this time left over, and we're seeing some light rain, maybe a possibility of something a little bit heavier in and around the Marquette area. But overall, we're going to look for a better day. We have an easterly flow across the Gulf of Mexico. You'll notice very clear skies across much of western North Carolina, but this frontal boundary will continue to push on further southward. We'll continue to notice that in our forecast. Lots of moisture. It's tropical in nature, bringing in some heavy rain on and off around the Brownsville, Texas area, as well as New Orleans. Now, what we're going to look for is going to be any possibility in the development of that area of lower pressure. It is tropical in nature. It's a wave, and we are seeing a wind aloft that's a little bit more northerly, and that is going to continue to push a lot more of that moisture a little bit further inland. Yesterday, we added up to about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall in and around Interstate 10, back around the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area. We could see a little more than that for today. Out to the west, we have some residual moisture. This moisture is going to be popping up again this afternoon in the form of thunderstorms, and that may produce some localized flooding, unfortunately, again, for parts of Utah. Looking at the forecast map, you'll notice our frontal boundary coming a little bit further south as we head into tomorrow morning. This will mean some milder temperatures across the Tennessee Valley area. But for today, we will continue to keep you posted on the severe weather from Washington all the way up through New York at this hour. We'll be back with your local forecast. We'll take a look at those regional radars for the New York area next.
This program was sponsored by the all-new Cadillac Seville STS. It's not just new, it's what's next.
You wouldn't choose any new car without a test drive, but test drive a Cantore, and you may not want to test drive any other car. Find out why Automobile Magazine called it a very capable sports sedan and a kick to drive. See your authorized dealer today for more about Cantore, the caddy that zigs. Get your kicks with a 0 down, $399 a month lease for 36 months, $849 due at signing.
Inside this envelope with a green star is a real check for $25,000. Inside this one is a $100,000 check. There are thousands of checks you can take right to the bank in selected Publishers Clearinghouse envelopes with a green star. So watch your mail.
Got crud? Get Zud, the heavy-duty scrub, and crud's gone. Liquid Zud heavy-duty cleanser dissolves rust, corrosion, soap scum, almost any crud. At home, on your boat, almost anywhere. Got crud? Get Zud.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Let me put the regional radar into effect for much of eastern Pennsylvania. Still seeing heavy rain showers. Northern and north central Jersey, we're looking at very strong thunderstorms. A number of severe thunderstorm warnings out just now. Middlesex County under severe thunderstorm warning until 3 p.m. Also looking at Monmouth County. This too in effect until 3 p.m. We're also looking at Hudson, Union, Essex County. This is all in northeastern areas of New Jersey. If you're in this area, please do seek shelter. These thunderstorms are associated associated with some very dangerous wind gusts in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. We're looking at very large hail also, so a lot of damage can occur with these thunderstorms as they do push to the east. We're going to watch this line. You'll notice that it has fallen and lost in some of its alignment, but still it's a very dangerous situation as it does push to the eastern areas of New Jersey at this time. We're looking also at this thunderstorm activity approaching the Long Island vicinity probably at the end of this hour. We'll look all along Interstate 95 for trouble this hour. These thunderstorms again are putting out not only heavy wind gusts and also the large hail, but a lot of water. So all along Interstate 95 it's probably associated with high puddles and very poor visibility. So do keep that in mind as you make your way out. Again, with these thunderstorms pulling through much of North Jersey, severe thunderstorms are calling for you to seek shelter. The safest place to be, of course, is not out on the road. It's certainly going to be inside. We are looking also to the south at some showers that may intensify this afternoon. We can see some thunderstorms occur along the New Orleans vicinity. This is tropical moisture, and it will continue to flow in off the Gulf for today. We're also seeing showers pick up in and around the Florida Peninsula, as well as Brownsville, Texas. And this is an area that's had quite a bit of moisture this month. We're looking at thunderstorms beginning to pull in. So anywhere from Corpus Christi down to Brownsville, you'll be running into a number of thunderstorms, and these are likely to continue throughout this afternoon. Across the Ohio Valley, the frontal boundary has pushed through much of Michigan as well as Ohio. Ahead of the frontal boundary is where we're seeing the redevelopment and that redevelopment possibility of additional showers and thunderstorms. More of the sprinkle activity behind it. With some mid-level disturbances coming across, we could possibly see something intensify, but overall it does look like conditions will be improving as we head into the evening hours across much of Michigan and the UP. A northerly wind coming in, we're going to experience some milder conditions. Out to the west now, we have a lot of moisture in our mid and low levels. This is all due to the remnants of what was ices and also an upper level low, and that's going to track further to the north today. Yesterday we were looking at problems with some flooding in some localized areas in the southern parts of Utah, Nevada, even parts of California, and that's going to reoccur for today. So do keep that in mind, especially this being a holiday. You're trying to get out and enjoy the weather and maybe do some hiking or some camping. Well, when you see these thunderstorms come up, they don't move too quickly. Try to get out of the way and head for high ground. That's going to be the safest place for the flood threat. Again, we are looking at severe conditions mainly across the Jersey vicinity at this time. Certainly it is not impossible to see some redevelopment a little bit further back across central parts of Pennsylvania and New York, so do keep that in mind with your travel at this time. Let's take a look quickly out towards international weather. Certainly tropical weather. We're at the peak season for development with tropical storms, and so we're watching a few waves across the Atlantic as well as in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Let's take a look at those temperatures right now across Venezuela. We're looking at lots of upper 80s and some cloudiness likely to come on in and bring us a possibility of a shower or two. It is a dreary day from Mexico City all the way up to Brownsville, Texas. We have cloudy skies and additional rain showers. Temperatures are warm, though. We'll be back. More details on your weather next.
Property owners, if weeds and brush are taking over your land, at last there is a solution. The amazing DR Field and Brush Mower can reclaim overgrown parts of your property with less work than you ever dreamed possible. Now, if you've ever tried to clear an overgrown field or ditch with a handheld brush cutter or a shaky sickle bar mower, you know they're exhausting to use. Take hold of a DR Field and Brush Mower, though, and you've got a whole different story. The DR knocks over brush and saplings up to 1 inch thick and chops most everything it cuts, so there's no tangle of vegetation to trip over or to pick up. So why let weeds and brush take over? Call now for complete details about the amazing new DR Field and Brush Mower. Call toll-free 1-800-326-4422 for your big color catalog all about the amazing DR Field and Brush Mower. Lowest prices of the year are now in effect. So call 1-800-326-4422 for free DR details.
It took years of work, the expertise of top information technologists and computer engineers.
We have circuits that will now bring the information electronically.
Our investment was, well, large. But we did it. We created the most comfortable place on earth for you to refinance your home loan.
Hello, Thank you for calling Countrywide Home Loans. This is Maria. How may I help you?
Your kitchen.
Maria, hi, this is David. Yeah, I just talked to my wife, and we're ready to refinance our loan.
Great. Give me just one moment and I'll pull up your file. Okay, great. Here it is. Yes.
With interest rates this low, this could be an excellent time to refinance your home loan. So get comfortable. Then call 800-EASY-877. Countrywide. Easy, really.
Hi, I'm George Foreman, and this is my lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. It grills delicious food in a healthy way, fast. And now I've teamed up with the folks at Sears to make my grill better than ever. We've added this unique, handy warming lid, so preparing tasty meals is even easier.
George Foreman's grill cooks from both sides at once, cutting most cooking times in half. The slanted grill channels fat and grease away from food. The floating hinge lets me grill evenly. Seared outside, moist and flavorful inside. Meanwhile, the lid warms rolls, buns, biscuits, tortillas, even pita bread. And the double-coated non-stick surface makes cleanup a breeze.
I'm so proud of it, I put my name on it. And because it's from Sears, you know your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back.
Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-381-5115 to order George Foreman's Grill with warming lid for only $59.99 plus shipping and handling. So call now.
Tropical weather systems are affected by so many variables.
We constantly monitor the situation.
If someone is safer by watching the Weather Channel, that's what it's all about.
Forget the pain of unsightly hair forever. Introducing IGEA, the revolutionary system advertised in leading magazines. It removes unwanted hair and helps keep it from growing back. No burning wax, no constant plucking. Look, shaving just cuts the hair off at the surface. Waxing rips it out painfully, and it still grows back. But IGEA sends a gentle electrolytic pulse through the hair and root to the very cell that causes it to grow. The hair slides out easily, and it's gone. If you're ever dissatisfied, we'll give you a complete refund. IGEA comes complete with this special European cleansing gel and soothing skin lotion. So don't live with unsightly hair. Order your IGEA system now.
Call 1-800-459-7799. Order your IGEA hair removal system for 4 payments of $29.95. Receive the cleansing gel plus skin lotion, and if you're not completely satisfied, keep the beauty creams as our gift.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Coming up, get the forecast for the next 7 days in your weekly planner.
A neglected septic system is like a time bomb under your house. Diffuse it with maintenance and advanced formula Rid-X septic treatment. It digests grease and paper and helps keep your system trouble-free. Diffuse that time bomb. Use Rid-X every month.
Inside this envelope with a green star is a real check for $25,000. Inside this one is a $100,000 check. There are thousands of checks you can take right to the bank in selected Publishers Clearinghouse envelopes with a green star. So watch your mail.
And it's time now to take you through the next 7 days as we head into the second week of September. Now, you'll notice immediately that we have a huge ridge starting out this week, 2 troughs, one to the east and one to the Pacific Northwest. Whenever you start seeing a lot of amplification in the long wave pattern, this usually is a thumbs up for a lot of mixing in air masses. Cooler air is able to come in from Canada, warm tropical moisture able to slide in from the Gulf. Those 2 air masses can certainly clash, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now across parts of the Northeast. If you're in Jersey, we certainly have some severe weather to keep you updated on. But let's see how all of this is going to reflect over the long haul. We have a frontal boundary that will be coming in from the Pacific. Now on Tuesday, that moisture will be mixing in with some of that residual moisture that is already in place towards the Rockies. So on Wednesday, as the frontal boundary becomes a little bit more organized, it'll pull away from the Rockies, and this may mean clashing into, yes, all that hot air that's in place across the midsection of the country, some thunder boomers, and some of these thunderstorms are likely to be severe. Now the other area of concern, that frontal boundary that is currently pushing across the Northeast, it will also push a little further to the south. And in doing so, it will be meeting up with those very warm 90-degree temperatures and those 70-degree dew points across the Gulf of Mexico. And we're likely to see some strong thunderstorms on Wednesday across parts of southern Georgia, southern Alabama, maybe even Florida, Louisiana. Now, do keep in mind also that we have one little kink in the projection, in the tabulation of pushing our forecast forward the next 48, 72 hours, and that's that tropical area of lower pressure. We'll continue to monitor that and see how that's going to come into play as well. Now, on Thursday, we begin to dry out towards the Northeast, just a little residual moisture left over. Much of the midsection of the country will be dry, also a lot cooler. Now, certainly down south, we're not going to be feeling the 60s and 50s that we're going to experience across the Great Lake tier, but 70s and 80s will be in place, and that's going to be a big difference from last week when we were looking at 100-degree temperatures and lots of 90s, so about a 20-degree drop. Now, on Thursday, our frontal boundary picks up a little bit more speed. It does make it towards the Dakotas, and so will the thunderstorms and the scattered rain showers. On Friday, we'll see this stretch of dangerous weather cause problems in and around Minnesota, maybe down towards South Dakota, possibly even the Nebraska area. And again, I remind you that we are likely to see scattered showers across the Gulf Coast states, but whether or not we have a tropical area to be concerned with is still in question. Let me take you to the temperatures. Again, you can almost draw the long wave pattern by just looking at the temperatures here, the afternoon highs, and you get that same very well amplified shape. Very hot towards the midsection of the country on Tuesday. Now, we have some cooler air coming in across the Great Lake tier. That's going to shift. It will modify, shift a little further to the east, and also some cooler but moderated air will be coming a little further to the south. The Tennessee Valley area on Wednesday experiencing 70s, and even down south where last week we were seeing lots of 90s across Georgia, Alabama, and Arkansas, we're going to see some 80s. And so a big difference here. However, the 90s, we're not done with them. There will be a large stretch of them all the way from the Big Bend area, the Concho Valley of Texas, and all the way up around the Canadian area of Sarasota, Manitoba. Lots of very warm summer-like temperatures here, but the Pacific Northwest, out around Seattle, Tacoma, Washington, we'll be looking at 60s for the afternoon high temperatures. So it is the story of the ridge and 2 troughs, so to speak. And this will continue as we head into the weekend, again, looking at the 80s, stretching pretty far to the north, just a little further to the east. Looking at the comparative cool temperatures, let me point out some 30s. Yes, certainly it's going to be feeling like fall, mid-fall at that, with 30s. They don't last long. 40s will be coming as far south as the Tennessee Valley area. Eventually, Carolinas and much of the mid-Mississippi Valley area will be experiencing some 50s, and even some 40s over the Ohio Valley will probably be very comfortable and quite a relief, a breath of fresh air, so to speak. Warm temperatures surging back up towards Aberdeen, South Dakota on Friday, but certainly some changes in store with our current weather pattern. Big changes. We'll tell you more about them coming up next.
Overnight rain and wind tore through parts of the Northeast and Midwest, and we're tracking chances for more dangerous thunderstorms. The latest forecast next on Weather Center.
Legendary car for people who go their own way.
Property owners, if weeds and brush are taking over your land, at last there is a solution. The amazing DR Field and Brush Mower can reclaim overgrown parts of your property with less work than you ever dreamed possible. Now, if you've ever tried to clear an overgrown field or ditch with a handheld brush cutter or a shaky sickle bar mower, you know they're exhausting to use. Take hold of a DR Field and Brush Mower, though, and you've got a whole different story. The DR knocks over brush and saplings up to 1 inch thick and chops most everything it cuts, so there's no tangle of vegetation to trip over or to pick up. So why let weeds and brush take over? Call now for complete details about the amazing new DR Field and Brush Mower. Call toll-free 1-800-326-4422 for your big color catalog all about the amazing DR Field and Brush Mower. Lowest prices of the year are now in effect. So call 1-800-326-4422 for free DR details.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
And a very busy afternoon as we watched a line of intense thunderstorms move all the way across to Pennsylvania. With it, a lot of reports of tree limbs down and also power outages on this Labor Day. And now, as we take you to the Doppler radar out of New York City, you can see that thunderstorms are moving east. We currently have a tornado warning out for Essex and Union counties in northeastern New Jersey. And of course, we're talking about these two counties right in here. And you can see why they have the warning out. Some very, very highly reflective cores coming in the Doppler, and that darkest pink that you see obviously indicating that we have some pretty intense thunderstorms. Also, Richmond County in New York, Staten Island, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning as well, as all this continues to race on off toward the east. Now, we've received a few phone calls this afternoon reporting winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour, so perhaps not as intense as what we saw earlier for the whole line. However, what has happened is individual cells now have formed and taken over. So you could have much more, a much stronger wind than 40 to 50 miles an hour, especially through Essex and Union counties. So Newark, Queens, of course, we have the U.S. Open going on right now, and they are minutes away, really several minutes away from dealing with this very, very intense line of thunderstorms, even though right now it looks like the worst may pass just to your south. So some big problems right now in the tri-state area, compliments of this line of thunderstorms moving on through. It's been a very, very active day so far. Let me show you the damage. Now, this is just with the first squall line that moved through this morning, and in Syracuse had some big problems as a result of this squall line that moved through before the sunrise. 2 people lost their lives here, and unfortunately you saw 80-mile-per-hour winds that produced a tremendous amount of damage. Close to 80,000 residents are without power, and officials say that the repairs here could take up to a week because of the widespread outages. I mean, look at this damage. I mean, this is something you'd see with a very, very strong wind gust, no doubt about it. All right, let me go ahead and show you what's happening right now again as we show you the overall Northeast. Here's an area of rain south of the Mass Pike, across New York State, and across New Jersey. Of course, this is the most potent part of the line right now, and that's not taking away any of these thunderstorms that are moving toward Providence and Newport, Rhode Island, or the storms that are moving through Philly as we speak, but certainly the most important part of the line right now where we have the damage going on is where this line kind of waves a little bit. We call this a line echo wave, and that's where you can get some of the stronger winds and the damage. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now around the tri-state area as we showed you on the Doppler radar. Now the watch extends all the way across Long Island, including Long Island Sound, all the way across the south coast of New England, out through the Cape and the islands. And boaters, please beware. Even though you're sitting out there in the water, I hope you're taking heed to any of the warnings that are out there, because these storms are producing 40 to 60 miles an hour with wind gusts, and that can easily capsize a boat, very, very easily. So mariners, this is your area to watch as well. The cold front pushing to the southeast, bringing in a sure shot of fall off to the northwest. Bill Keneally was telling me that Caldwell, New Jersey, went from 88 degrees to about 66 degrees in 13 minutes. So an incredible drop in temperature as the line moves on through. And even though right now the big show is here, it is not uncommon, given the instability on the tail end of this cold front, to see storms develop and also go severe back here. But right now, all indications are really watching this show, because that is the big show as all this continues to push to the east. Behind the squall line, the leading edge of it, we do have a pretty decent area of rain. So if you're traveling up the Northway this afternoon, if you're driving the Mass Pike back to Albany, you're going to get wet. The Pennsylvania Turnpike also very wet as you make your way on off to the east. Again, right now, most of our thunderstorms are north of Philadelphia, but you will notice on a couple of these later pictures that the bottom edge of this squall line is starting to develop over the Chesapeake Bay and is moving into western Maryland. So Dover, keep an eye out as these storms, at least to the northern end of them, have had a history of hail and wind damage. And certainly the instability that exists down here could also prove to be an important factor for you as these storms that continue to push on through. So some big problems this afternoon, especially in the tri-state area. Current tornado warnings out for Essex and also Union counties. So our risk goes through midnight tonight for these thunderstorms, even though in 45 minutes the line will be through downtown New York. That's how quick it's moving. And these clouds obviously making their way quickly through New England and also Pennsylvania, New York. But behind the cold front, just a lot of cold air cumulus clouds and a sign of fall as this cool air mass continues to make its way southeast for Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. So a warm, humid air mass leading to some convection tonight, probably some damage on tap too for the tri-state area as we continue to watch these storms push to the south. For more weather information on your PC, click in and join us at weather.com. Right now, Lisa Moser has a look at the rest of the nation on this Labor Day. Lisa?
Thanks. Jim Cantore updating us from the Forecast Center. He'll have more details on the severe weather again at the top of the hour. Again, thanks, Jim, for the update. Many of us in the southeast are also spending our holiday afternoon this Monday under rainy skies. We are looking at some better conditions for Michigan this afternoon. The sun is expected to break out from some of the cloud cover in that area. Well, the light rain didn't stop the preparations for today's Labor Fest celebration in Detroit. Volunteers, well, they worked through this morning getting everything ready for today's big event, and you can trade in the umbrella for some sunglasses this afternoon, as we are seeing some breaks in the cloud cover, and that's going to really complement our outdoor holiday activities, not only in Detroit, but for much of Michigan. Right now we are still seeing some raininess. It is kind of scattered about parts of North Michigan as well as the UP, and a little further to the south we're seeing some sprinkles also in and around the Ann Arbor area. But overall, conditions are going to continue to improve. Temperatures not nearly as warm today as they were yesterday around this time. In Flint, we're reporting 73 degrees, and so we're looking at low to mid 70s for the temperatures in and around Detroit. A little milder across the border between Canada and the U.S. International Falls this hour, 63 degrees. Marquette at 60 under cloudy skies with some light rain in the area. Very sultry conditions still in and around St. Louis. We're looking at a current temperature of 89 degrees, in Cincinnati 87. Looking at the satellite and the radar combined, I want to point out that you can see that the frontal boundary did push through earlier. What we're seeing right now, a little residual residual moisture is being condensed by that cooler air coming in from Canada. And you'll notice that we have clear skies already in and around the lakes of northern Minnesota. Very mild conditions. A little further to the south. And notice that the frontal boundary, it keeps continuing to push to the south here also. So the Tennessee Valley area, we're going to see some rain showers, maybe even a thunderstorm or two. We've seen rain showers all along the coastal states of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, one of the reasons is because we do have high pressure, and that's giving us an easterly flow on the bottom side of this high. But also, we have an area of lower pressure. It's tropical in nature. It's a very broad area, and we'll continue to watch this situation. And if you're concerned about the possibility of some tropical weather, well, it's with good reason. We'll give you more details at 10 minutes till the top of the hour with our tropical weather update. But let me just show you that some of this moisture that is coming inland from the Gulf, it is tropical in nature, and you'll notice that we're beginning to see a few thunderstorms fire up. Earlier, we were just looking at showers on and off, so look for a few more thunderstorms, and this may mean additional rain amounts. Yesterday, we were averaging about 1/4 inch with some of the showers, so we may see a little more than that. So it's kind of wet along I-10 for today. Out to the west, real quickly, I just want to point out that the showers are beginning to pick up across parts of Utah, not only Utah, but much of the interior Rockies today will be experiencing showers and some thunderstorms. The afternoon instability with the heating of the day will cause a lot of those thunderstorms to really put out some rainfall, and that may mean some localized flooding, much like what we did experience yesterday in parts of Utah and Nevada, so please be on the lookout for that. The frontal boundary continues to push south, and this will mean some cooler temperatures, but first we'll have to deal with the severe weather around that front. We'll have that on your local forecast and then travel-wise.
Everyone enjoys listening to birds, and now you can bring those happy sounds indoors with the official National Audubon Society singing bird clock. At 12 o'clock, you'll hear the haunting call of the owl. And throughout the day, a different bird will sing its song to chime the hour. You'll hear the familiar robin, the song sparrow, and more. Each bird sound has been authenticated by the National Audubon Society and will help give your child a true appreciation of nature.
Mommy, that's an oriole.
The singing bird clock will look great in any room, and a light sensor keeps your clock from chiming at night. The official National Audubon Society singing bird clock is only $19.99, complete with this certificate of authenticity and full-color book. Call now and you'll also get these full-function binoculars, complete with high-powered optics, absolutely free. Order now.
To order your singing bird clock for only $19.99 plus shipping, call 1-800-527-2112. This exclusive offer is not available in stores, so call now. Sorry, no CODs.
These days, it seems like everybody's got a Cherokee or an Explorer. Me, I like to stand out a bit. That's why I drive a Subaru Outback. With a big cargo bay and all-wheel drive, you get all the sport utility you need. But with the smooth ride and better gas mileage, the Outback is far from ordinary. Like me, really. What a weird-looking bunch that was.
Test drive the beauty of all-wheel drive at a Subaru dealer near you.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Okay, this is our story today. Severe weather in the Northeast is what we're looking at. And that goes on through a good part of the afternoon, moving through some major metropolitan areas. The red arrow, or the red area on the map, running from southern New England on down towards southern New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And that's where you could get some damaging winds and hail. A lot of folks outdoors. In fact, the U.S. Open in New York City today, folks will have to scurry indoors in the tennis stadium as things move on into that area. But Chicago looking a lot better at the Jazz Festival right on the lake. Much better weather than yesterday's shower threats. But to the south, thunderstorms breaking out around Tennessee and even Florida. Around Miami, you've got some storms right now. Watch out for the national parks in the west with lightning and some locally heavy downpours. We have a severe weather watch in the Northeast, as we see, moving from eastern Pennsylvania through New Jersey and on all the way to Cape Cod. And that runs out till 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tonight as the rainy travel duplicates a lot of the thundery travel. Watch out for some dangerous lightning on the Gulf Coast, especially if you're traveling by a boat. As you can see, things welling up, a very disturbed area of weather on the Gulf Coast. And some of the national parks from the Grand Canyon on to Lake Powell, we're looking at a chance of more heavy rain. And the Northwest, along the Columbia Basin with some heavy rain. We take you on into New York City. Showers raining themselves out heavily along Interstate 80. Watch out around Allentown and back up towards Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, moving out of your area. But from Philadelphia to New York City, even Hartford on toward Providence, they're coming on in. Let's take a special close-up look right now at a Doppler radar. This is Westchester County, Fairfield County, Connecticut. You have severe thunderstorm warnings from Orange County down into Bergen, Essex County, New Jersey, all the 5 boroughs of New York. This is an intense thunderstorm in Staten Island, moving in toward Brooklyn and Queens. Another fast-moving storm running out ahead has gone over the tennis stadium, Flushing Meadows. So those folks should stay indoors because even heavier activity is moving toward Flushing Meadows and Queens, coming across the Hudson River right now. Staten Island down into the area around Sandy Hook, New Jersey, lower New York Bay. Special marine warnings are out. There could be gusts up to 50, 60 miles an hour or stronger around the greater New York area in the next little while, and possibly some large hail as well. Moving on toward the radar toward Philadelphia. Philadelphia County now has a severe thunderstorm warning. We've had a possible tornado moving into central New Jersey, the area around Monmouth County, looking at severe thunderstorm warnings. So a serious situation in the Northeast United States, to be sure. The interstates, especially around New York City and even down to Washington, beware of some rough driving conditions. In the south as well, ringing the Gulf Coast, we have some showers that are heavy at times, and watch out for dangerous lightning. And the upper Midwest coming in with a few rain showers as well, and on into the west. Stay with us.
The internet is your window on the world, but without software that protects your internet privacy, the internet is the world's window on you. Guard Dog. From Cyber Media, it keeps the web from surfing you.
Comfort that never quits. Red Wing shoes. Work hard.
Get your Red Wing shoes at a dealer near you.
Has frequent heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Have you treated it but still suffer on 2 or more days a week? Do you keep getting heartburn even though you've changed your diet? Your heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor about Prilosec. 1 capsule daily can provide complete 24-hour heartburn relief because it controls acid for 24 hours. 24 hours. Ask your doctor if Prilosec is right for you. Call to learn more. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Want 24-hour heartburn relief with 1 daily dose? Ask your doctor about the most prescribed acid control medicine in America, Prilosec.
Property owners, if weeds and brush are taking over your land, at last there is a solution. The amazing DR Field and Brush Mower can reclaim overgrown parts of your property with less work than you ever dreamed possible. Now, if you've ever tried to clear an overgrown field or ditch with a handheld brush cutter or a shaky sickle bar mower, you know they're exhausting to use. Take hold of a DR Field and Brush Mower, though, and you've got a whole different story. The DR knocks over brush and saplings up to 1 inch thick and chops most everything it cuts, so there's no tangle of vegetation to trip over or to pick up. So why let weeds and brush take over? Call now for complete details about the amazing new DR Field and Brush Mower. Call toll-free 1-800-326-4422 for your big color catalog all about the amazing DR Field and Brush Mower. Lowest prices of the year are now in effect. So call 1-800-326-4422 for free DR details.
Chevy Tahoe with a Vortec engine. The most powerful SUV anywhere.
You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station or newspaper.
Each time a disturbance comes off the coast of Africa, we follow that until it develops into a storm or to whatever it does. That way you're prepared, you're safe, out of harm's way.
Precision engineering. Performance that nails you to your seat. But enough about the high-performance computers Dell worked directly with Ford to build. What can we build yours to do? Call and for just $19.99, we'll build you this Dell Dimension XPS with an Intel Pentium 2 processor at 350 megahertz, 64 megs of SD RAM, a 10 gig hard drive, an internal iOmega zip drive, and Microsoft Windows 98, a large screen monitor, 3-year limited warranty, plus 1 year next business day at-home service. The Dell Dimension XPS with an Intel Pentium 2 processor at 350 megahertz for only $19.99. Let nothing stand between you and pure performance. Be direct. Dell.
I'm sure other kids were interested in weather, but I was a real fanatic about it. Now I look at the winds on a computer, and I tell people about it. The best part? I get to watch the wind for a living.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
We have got some intense thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms rocking the New York metro area right now, all the way up to Providence, New Haven, Connecticut, and down to Philadelphia. More on that on Storm Watch after we take a look at the tropical update. And over the Atlantic Ocean, things are not looking too bad right now, not too threatening as we look at a weak tropical wave moving across the middle of the Atlantic right now, and also back on into parts of the Caribbean Sea just to the north of Hispaniola. But for the most part, we're looking at a lull in the action. You know, we had 4 tropical developments in the space of 2 weeks from late August to early September, and now the atmosphere is kind of regrouping. Things fairly quiet in the eastern Atlantic. A weak tropical wave approaching the Lesser Antilles, as another weak one went through yesterday, and mainly associated with an upper level low, the activity north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, not threatening tropical development there at all. But as we go a little further toward the west, well, the Gulf of Mexico still looking very unsettled and very unsettling. We have an upper level high pressure system, which you'll see a little bit more obviously in just a minute, over the area, which as far as upper levels goes is conducive to tropical development. Now there's a sort of a broad area of low pressure in the central southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, slowly falling pressures, but we really need a focused area of low pressure with a lot of heavy convection, a lot of heavy shower and thunderstorm activity right around it before we really see a tropical depression. Now something could be trying to organize right in this area. You can see the thunderstorms kind of filling in toward an area. So that's what we're going to be looking at, things congregating around a central low pressure area and falling pressures and upper level support for what could be the next tropical depression of the season. If it turns into a storm, it'll be Francis. We're looking at a lot of heavy showers, though, coming up on South Padre Island and Brownsville, and more of that impacting the Mexican coast, but most of the activity so far has been out over the Gulf of Mexico. This is what I mean by the upper level high pressure system. There's a general large-scale circulation of clockwise flow, and that usually supports tropical development at upper levels. All we need is for this convection to congregate and increase around a low pressure center, and at that point we could have ourselves a tropical depression. So stay tuned for more on this in the coming days. This could take a day or even a couple of days to develop if it's going in that direction, and it very well might. But the rest of the Caribbean in pretty good shape. We're seeing rotation that indicates an upper level low from Jamaica southward to east of Nicaragua. That shouldn't support tropical development. And our middle Atlantic shot once again showing a very fast-moving line of showers and storms that is moving a little bit too fast actually to support much tropical development, running right out of its upper level support. You can see some westerly winds blowing the tops right off some of those showers, so really not going in that direction that we're really concerned about. But further out toward the east, off the African coastline, we've got, well, right on the African coastline, what looks like another tropical wave with a lot of energy. And when that gets out over the waters, we'll see whether it persists across the Atlantic. Right now, it's still over land. We are at the most active point of the hurricane season statistically, September 1st to 10th. Numerous dots in many places, better than one a year if you go back through the years, and that is the peak of the hurricane season. But we'll see whether things develop in the Gulf over the next day or two. Tropical Depression 11 south of Cabo San Lucas now has 35-mile-an-hour winds, and it is moving toward the west-northwest at 10 miles an hour. We've been watching this area for the past couple of days for development. It's been looking quite good, and now we have a rotation that could become Javier. That would be the next storm in the Pacific, Javier, and we'll have to see which direction that will move in over the next couple of days. So far, moving out over the open ocean. Back to the States, a very active cool front coming through the Midwest into the Northeast. Very chilly air now moving in for tonight, moving into Minnesota. Very hot air for your Labor Day over most of the nation. And our big threat area is the Northeast for damaging thunderstorm winds. We've had a lot of it all the way back through Pennsylvania and New York, and maybe some hail. As we look at the radars, we zoom on in. Places like Providence are getting some heavy rain right now, into New Jersey. If we can, do we have that Doppler available? Let's show you the latest Doppler radar showing Fairfield County and Connecticut coming in with a tornado warning right now. And that moving on into western parts of Queens for the Tennis Open. Folks taking cover in Flushing Meadows because of a little bit too much rain coming down. So we also have heavy thunderstorms. All the 5 boroughs have severe thunderstorm warnings right now in New York City. That moving into Fairfield County, Connecticut as a tornado warning, and into lower New York Bay right now as the action moves on in. Stay tuned. More on Weather Center after your local forecast.
After a night of dangerous storms in parts of the Midwest and Northeast, more rain, wind, and lightning is possible. The potential trouble spots next on Weather Center.
In a GMC Yukon, you may welcome a little challenge.
A little mountain climbing.
With horsepower that leads its class, Yukon dominates the road.
Even towing feels like child's play.
Yukon by GMC. It puts you comfortably in command.
It looks like you're blushing.
I thought it was acne, but at my age?
I always felt like people were staring at me. People kept asking me if I had sunburn. It was embarrassing.
The redness on your face that doesn't go away could be a skin condition called rosacea. Fortunately, rosacea can be treated. See a dermatologist and ask about trying Metrogel, the leading topical prescription treatment for rosacea. Call this toll-free number for a free informative booklet about rosacea. You'll also receive a free rebate good towards your first Metrogel prescription. People who are allergic to metronidazole should not use Metrogel. In clinical trials, less than 3% of people experience burning, stinging, redness, skin irritation, itching, or worsening of rosacea.
I'm open, I'm affectionate. I feel like my old self again.
Ask your dermatologist for more information about Metrogel and visit our website. Remember, call now to receive your free booklet and valuable coupon.
This face is looking good these days.
I'm sure other kids were interested in weather, but I was the only one that was a real fanatic about it. I used to sit on the front stoop and watch the wind blowing the trees around, the clouds moving fast. Now I look at the winds on a computer, and I tell people about it. Where are the trouble spots? Where's that front headed today? The weather right now might be entirely different by the time you're heading home. We keep you on top of it. The best part? I get to watch the wind for a living.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
They just interviewed Pete Sampras' coach at the U.S. Open, and he said that he had never seen anything like what has just moved through the U.S. Open, with wind gusts apparently estimated between 60 and 70 miles per hour. Let me show you what's going on here. We have a Doppler radar out of New York City, and of course all the boroughs in New York City are under severe thunderstorm warnings at the present time. In addition to that, there is a tornado warning out for Nassau County for this cell here. This is the one that just moved through the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadows, and it did produce at least 60 to 70 mile per hour winds there. LaGuardia Airport had a gust of 54 knots, which is 62 miles an hour, and this continues to head on off toward the northeast in Nassau County toward Oyster Bay. So keep that in mind. Also, in southwestern Connecticut, this is a tornado warning here in Fairfield County, as this area, as well as the coastal waters, are under the gun until 3:20. You can see both of these cells that I'm pointing to have very highly reflective cores in the shades of pink that you see here. The cell that we had earlier in Essex and Union County, New Jersey, has pushed east now, and if you live anywhere near Coney Island, this is heading right towards you. This is the cell we're really concentrating on. And also, there is another cell that is pulsing up behind the first one and that is getting ready to move into northwestern Queens County as it begins to cross over the river. So please keep that in mind. Very dangerous cells working their way to the east. Each one of these has the capability of either a tornado or 60 to even 70 mile-per-hour winds as they continue to push on off toward the east. Well, let me show you some of the damage that we have so far had across the Northeast. There's been a lot of problems. This morning there was a line of thunderstorms, which we call a derecho, and it's usually an occurrence that occurs in the morning, but it basically is a damaging line of storms which produces high winds and very heavy rainfall. This moved all the way across New York State and through New Hampshire early on, even before sunrise in many cases, and we did have damage and even loss of life in Syracuse, New York. After that, we saw a line of storms develop in northeast Ohio. That has pushed all the way to the east across New Jersey now and is bearing down on New York, as we've been mentioning with all the warnings, and that has produced numerous reports of wind damage, power lines down, and also hail as large, I should say, as 2 1/4 inches. So some incredible weather, to say the least, that has pushed through this area. Again, let's go back to New York City. We'll show you the radar here, and it's not only New York City, but up through Connecticut, on across southern New England, through Providence, and out through the Cape and the islands, even though the only warning that we have now in Fairfield County is a tornado warning out for this area in southwestern Connecticut as these cells continue to move on off toward the east. Let me reload this, and I'll put it into motion for you, and you can see these once again. Again, this is the reports from this morning, but you can see the storms as they push across Nassau County now. We have a tornado warning out for Nassau County. All the boroughs under severe thunderstorm warnings. This area just pulsing right over New York City. And as we mentioned earlier, it looks like they've had 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds at the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadows today as a result of these thunderstorms. So hopefully no problems there, even though if we get reports in from that area about the thunderstorms, we will obviously pass them along to you. Through late this afternoon, notice our watches continue across southern New York, all the way through southern New England, out through the Cape and the islands. That bow or that area of thunderstorms should just race right across Long Island. Now, mariners, this is your line of thunderstorms too. Winds that gust anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour can capsize a small craft, and there's no reason why we shouldn't get those wind gusts at minimum, to push all the way across the southern shore of New England and also across the north shore of Long Island and also the south shore. So keep that in mind. This is your little squall line as well as it continues to push on off to the east. We'll take another shot here at the cold front and show you that this is passing on to the east, and once it does move through, we're going to get some improvements in the weather. However, what we're starting to notice now along this cold front are thunderstorms that are developing into parts of Ohio and western Pennsylvania. This is what we were concerned about. The atmosphere recovered a little bit back in here, and we are getting some of the thunderstorms developing back in through western New York and also western Pennsylvania. So keep that in mind as these storms continue to press to the east. Also, notice east of Baltimore, west of Dover. I told you about these earlier. The tail end of this line, which stretches down northwest of Dover, is starting to see a few thunderstorms develop along it. There are some warnings out for these cells in Queen Anne's County in Maryland and also Caroline County. Severe thunderstorm warnings out until 3:45. And also now I hear Mike Bono just handed me this in New Haven County, including the adjacent coastal waters, there is a severe thunderstorm warning. And that, of course, is from that cell which is moving through Fairfield County. Oh, major line of storms here, collapsing now as it's moving through western New York, but still, as it collapses, it's sending down those stronger winds aloft, which had been reporting gusts all the way back in central Pennsylvania of 60 to 70 miles an hour. And our big concern around the Flushing Meadows areas that we've seen a similar gust this afternoon as a result of this line moving through. I mentioned earlier, Mike Seidel gave me a call and he said, Jim, they just interviewed Pete Sampras as coach, and he said he had never seen anything like this regarding weather and active weather move through. The skies were just pitch black, and all of a sudden the wind and the rain moved on through. So hopefully we won't have any kind of injuries or loss of life in that region. Now, our thunderstorm threat will continue through this afternoon, and this area will race all the way across Long Island and across the southern shores of New England and be a big threat to mariners as well on this Labor Day. What's happening across the rest of the nation? Well, let's go back into the studio and find out with Mike Bono.
Well, it looks like a pretty rainy day in parts of the Gulf Coast of the south, and also on into the south, a lot of heat too. Now, Detroit, Michigan came in with some rain this morning. The rain for the activities of the Labor Fest that was getting set up in Detroit, but that rain came and went, and it looks like you're looking a lot better as we go on in time. During the day, the sun should be shining on the end of that Labor Fest as we go on into the remainder of this particular day in Detroit. although temperatures are going to be cooler. If you really wanted that hot weather for Labor Day, you're going to have to make do with some chillier jacket weather tonight. Showers coming on down past Mackinac Island right now and down I-75 around Grayling, Michigan, Saginaw. So some of these could make it into Detroit, but probably a sprinkle to a brief shot of rain with cooler winds coming on down to the north. No big threat for big weather anymore in Detroit. Only 69 degrees, 65 in Buffalo after last night's tremendous storms. New York 88 before the storms got in. The humidity is up. It is juiced. It is primed for severe weather. 91 in Washington right now, but close to 100 in Little Rock and Oklahoma City, 93 Dallas. The heat's still on at Phoenix, although LA is only 77, and it feels like over 100 in Little Rock and Raleigh, so a revisitation of summer weather. You got to slow down, stay out of the sun, take it easy one more day. Looks like some relief is on the way. Our cloud band associated with that cool front, cold cloudiness, temperatures in the 50s to low 60s in parts of Ontario and Quebec province, Canada, whereas 90s to near 100 further south. And some unsettled weather in the Gulf of Mexico. We're watching for possible tropical development in the southern Gulf. Showers peppering Padre Island, near New Orleans, back to Panama City, and even around Miami. We have some special marine warnings in Cocoa Beach, near Vero Beach, an intense thunderstorm. Watch out for that lightning today and over the Everglades and the Kissimmee River Valley. Here's the cool front duking it out with all the hot weather to the south and precipitating some rain along that front. But the west, a different story. We have an upper level low that continues to bring moisture up, kind of a monsoon-like pattern with some showers from Arizona to Utah, even a flash flood watch in parts of Idaho where you can expect some strong thunderstorms. But again, the big problem area of the day is the northeast. We're waiting for that front to make it through on this Labor Day evening. Hopefully in the big towns, the worst will be over by the evening rush hour. But watch out down around Washington. You may be just getting your storms in the next couple of hours. Much cooler weather, though, for Tuesday. Back to work, back to school. Chicago, windy, chilly. Detroit, windy, cooler. But the hot weather in the south finally to be broken as that cool weather comes on down late tomorrow into Tuesday. Very warm, though, still for temperature highs coming in near 100 as late as Tuesday, and those lows will be kind of chilly in the north. Well, stay with us. Some very heavy weather moving through the northeast and some heavy showers elsewhere. More particulars on travel-wise coming up next.
Everyone enjoys listening to birds, and now you can bring those happy sounds indoors with the official National Audubon Society singing bird clock. At 12 o'clock, you'll hear the haunting call of the owl. And throughout the day, a different bird will sing its song to chime the hour. You'll hear the familiar robin, the song sparrow, and more. Each bird sound has been authenticated by the National Audubon Society and will help give your child a true appreciation of nature.
Mommy, that's an Oriole.
The singing bird clock will look great in any room, and a light sensor keeps your clock from chiming at night. The official National Audubon Society singing bird clock is only $19.99, complete with this certificate of authenticity and full-color book. Call now and you'll also get these full-function binoculars, complete with high-powered optics, absolutely free. Order now.
To order your singing bird clock for only $19.99 plus shipping, call 1-800-527-2112. This exclusive offer is not available in stores, so call now. Sorry, no CODs.
Hi, I'm George Foreman, and this is my lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. It grills delicious food in a healthy way, fast. And now I've teamed up with the folks at Sears to make my grill better than ever. We've added this unique, handy warming lid, so preparing tasty meals is even easier.
George Foreman's grill cooks from both sides at once, cutting most cooking times in half. The slanted grill channels fat and grease away from food. The floating hinge lets me grill evenly. Seared outside, moist and flavorful inside. Meanwhile, the lid warms rolls, buns, biscuits, tortillas, even pita bread. And the double-coated non-stick surface makes cleanup a breeze.
I'm so proud of it, I put my name on it. And because it's from Sears, you know your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back.
Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-381-5115 to order George Foreman's grill with warming lid for only $59.99 plus shipping and handling. So call now.
Trimmer users, if you're tired of handheld trimmers that strain your arms and back and are so frustrating to use, here's great news about the original revolutionary DR trimmer on wheels. Now there's an all-new smaller DR that's perfect for every homeowner. The new DR Sprint has the same easy-rolling big wheels design as its bigger brothers, but it's a third lighter for easier trimming, along drives and walks, around planting beds and obstacles, in ditches, and on slopes. The DR Sprint also has the power to mow even waist-high weeds and grass without clogging. So why put up with a shaky handheld trimmer? Call now for full details on the complete line of DR trimmer mowers, including the brand new DR Sprint that's perfect for every homeowner. Call toll-free 1-800-851-6611 for your big free package all about the revolutionary DR trimmer on wheels, plus special savings now in effect. That's 1-800-851-6611 for free DR details.
Look at this. Over 1 million stomachs have gotten tighter with 8-Minute Abs. And to celebrate our success, we created the 8-Minute Gold Collection. But first, look at these results.
I went from this flabby spare tire to a washboard stomach. Thanks, 8-Minute Abs.
You'll get 8-Minute Abs, 8-Minute Buns, and 8-Minute Arms.
I used to hide my backside, but look, now I have a shape to show off thanks to 8-Minute Buns.
It takes only 8 minutes, and my arms never looked better.
The secret to our 8-minute success is using the muscles in a specific sequence to maximize effectiveness. It gets the job done in only 8 minutes. Flatten those abs, shape your buns, tone your arms. You can order all 3 videos for only $29.95. Call now and we'll include 8-minute legs free. That's 8-minute abs, buns, arms, and legs. That's an $80 value for only $29.95. Our guarantee, if you don't lose at least 3 inches or drop 2 dress sizes, we'll send you a prompt refund.
Call 1-800-971-3553.
Trimmer users, if you're tired of handheld trimmers that strain your arms and back and are so frustrating to use, here's great news about the original revolutionary DR trimmer on wheels. Now there's an all-new smaller DR that's perfect for every homeowner. The new DR Sprint has the same easy-rolling big wheels design as its bigger brothers, but it's a third lighter for easier trimming along drives and walks, around planting beds and obstacles, in ditches, and on slopes. The DR Sprint also has the power to mow even waist-high weeds and grass without clogging. So why put up with a shaky handheld trimmer? Call now for full details on the complete line of DR trimmer mowers, including the brand new DR Sprint that's perfect for every homeowner. Call toll-free 1-800-851-6611 for your big free package all about the revolutionary DR trimmer on wheels, plus special savings now in effect. That's 1-800-851-6611 for free DR details.
Okay, we now have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect in parts of the northeastern United States, and that goes down to parts of New Jersey, a lot of Connecticut, the New York metro area, and southern New England, including Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. We've been getting reports of 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds, even in the New York area, from LaGuardia Airport to Flushing Meadows, Queens, where the U.S. Open is located, and that should continue. Maybe even some large hail, possibly even tornadoes. The severe threat now from southern New England all the way down, sweeping into the Ohio Valley. As you see, our rainy travel forecast coincides with the same area. The radar showing all the action in the northeast, as you can see. Let's zoom on into that New York City radar right now. We just got issued a tornado warning for western Suffolk County. This is the Nassau-Suffolk line right now. Huntington, town of Huntington, and then we go on eastward. But right in this area, Bethpage, Long Island, right about here, has a tornado reported in the last several minutes. Right around the golf course, Bethpage, eastern Nassau County. That's now moving into western Suffolk County, the storm that could be producing a tornado. We had gusts up to 60 to 70 miles an hour in northern Queens, right around LaGuardia Airport. The storm has come through Coney Island. It's now moving through Jones Beach, moving toward Robert Moses State Park. Gusty winds. The beaches are getting hit very hard right now. Dangerous lightning, and now Fire Island, just the beginning of Fire Island, starting to get the leading edge of that thunderstorm area. So this is the town of Huntington, and moving into the town of, out of the town of Oyster Bay right now in Nassau County, some severe thunderstorms. It's raining itself out right now in northeast New Jersey. New York City, you've gotten the worst of it as far as wind goes, but there's still a lot of rain where that came from. Incidentally, Fairfield County in Connecticut still has a tornado warning in effect. Let's take a look at the larger viewpoint right now, and we'll see the showers moving through northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, even New Haven County with a severe thunderstorm warning, and the Providence area of Rhode Island coming in with severe thunderstorms. Looks much better in Pennsylvania right now on into West Virginia, so good news there. But watch out as those storms move into the Dover, Delaware area, coming out of Queen Anne's County in Maryland and the eastern shores of the Chesapeake Bay. Rainy travel, to say the least, in the northeastern United States. Be careful on the roadways, and be careful on the Gulf Coast, especially South Florida and around Melbourne, where storms are getting locally severe. More on the Weekly Planner coming up.
Tropical weather systems are affected by so many variables.
We constantly monitor the situation.
If someone is safer by watching the Weather Channel, that's what it's all about.
Do your nasal allergies make you feel like a prisoner? Do you feel trapped indoors, especially when there's so much you want to do outdoors? Nasacort AQ nasal spray lets you take control of your nasal allergies. Nasacort AQ is a once-a-day prescription medication that goes to work right where the problem is to relieve stuffiness and runny nose. Call 1-800-762-1020 for a free allergy relief fact kit, including product information about Nasacort and a $5 rebate offer. Take control. Take Nasacort. Nasacort is non-drowsy and non-habit-forming. It has a low incidence of side effects, including headache, sore throat, nosebleed, and increased cough. Results were similar in tests with non-medicated inhalers. For best results, Nasacort must be used daily. Maximum relief may take several days. Nasacort is also available as a nasal inhaler. For more information, see your healthcare professional. Call now for product information and a $5 rebate offer.
Coming up, get the forecast for the next 7 days in your Weekly Planner.
Rough night's sleep, no big deal? Look again. This X-ray shows no support for your neck and spine when you toss and turn on an ordinary pillow. But now there's the Contour Cloud, the world's most comfortable pillow. Patented soft-touch memory layer molds to fit your head, neck, even your ear for unparalleled softness and comfort, while Blue Base straightens and aligns your spine. Plus, exclusive Crescent provides comforting support to your neck and shoulders. It even cradles your back. Watch again how ordinary pillows simply don't support
Port Havre and affecting travel along Interstate 94. Well, we're keeping an eye on the tropics, particularly the Gulf of Mexico, and here's the latest on that from Bob.
Thanks a lot, Dan. We are taking a look at the Gulf of Mexico now, and one interesting point is, as we have a possibility of a tropical depression tomorrow forming in the Gulf of Mexico, we also have that front that Dan was talking about sliding southward. It's going to be interesting, and two factors to watch over time to see how these two come together, with that front dropping southward and the moisture from this system driving northward. We could be looking at some heavy rainfall over the next few days, which could lead to flooding. But let's focus specifically on this area here across the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, where pressures are low in the Bay of Campeche. In the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, pressures have been falling, and the upper level winds are favorable for organization. It's a bit disorganized now, but as time goes on with warm Gulf waters, we could see this organizing and becoming a tropical depression. As a matter of fact, as we zoom in on this, the Air Force Reserves plan to send a reconnaissance aircraft in here tomorrow afternoon to take a closer look. You can still see the storminess. These areas of dark red are where the rain is really coming down hard, and we're looking at rainfall potential quite heavy over the next few days right along the Gulf Coast. This is moving toward the northwest. Right now the rain is mainly over the northern Gulf waters. The rain has been generally light earlier this evening when it was coming down in New Orleans, but this could turn into thunderstorms in the Big Easy tomorrow. There's a frontal system driving southward, there's the moisture, and that could lead to some flooding rains over the next several days as we have this system moving toward the northwest. We'll be watching it very carefully tomorrow for you for any changes in the status of this disturbance. Here's Dan with a look at the temperatures.
Thanks a lot, Bob. We check first the high temperatures across the country today, and notice 102 at Oklahoma City. That tied the record for the date. It's also about 15 degrees above normal for this time of year. Tomorrow, we're forecasting your high in Oklahoma City to be probably the mid-90s and then maybe the upper 80s for you on Wednesday. So the cooler air is on the way, and you can see that evident in high temperature today at Buffalo, New York, 68 degrees. Highs today in the west, we're across Montana, 20 to 25 degrees above normal for the date. You can see the presence of that cooler Canadian air beginning to spill into the lower Great Lakes, with readings today 5 degrees below normal in many cases. Boston, you're right now 65, New York City 69 degrees, 60s for you in Philadelphia, and the low 70s right now in Washington, D.C. 24-hour temperature change. In Pittsburgh, you're 19 degrees colder than you were yesterday at this time. Chicago 18 degrees colder as that Canadian high pressure spills southward. Right now in Atlanta, you're 79 in Birmingham. The cooler weather is on the way for the south, but tomorrow, before the front really comes through, you'll experience another warm day. But you can see now 40s at Marquette, mid-50s at International Falls, mid-60s at the Twin Cities. Still a lot of warmth in the west. It's 90 now in Las Vegas, 97 degrees in Phoenix, and 61 degrees with some showers around Cut Bank. And here's the forecast with Bob.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan. Let's take a look first at our jet stream and the air that's coming down. That means cool Canadian air with an association with this trough. And as it slides southward, even you in the south are going to experience some comfortable air over the next few days. You could pay the price in terms of storms as the front moves toward the south. But not only is it going to be cool, it's going to be dry. That's what these dew points in the 40s and 50s mean. So this Canadian high dropping southward, the leading edge will be the front. So that means some cooler air over the next few days. So the 90s will be replaced by mild days and very pleasant nights. So enjoy it as we get to the end of summer. Let's take a look at your forecast, beginning with the northeast. We have that autumn air scooting in, 54 in Syracuse, but the atmosphere will still be unstable. That's why we see a chance of rain as you return to work tomorrow after a holiday weekend. 64 in New York, some clouds with a little sunshine coming through. A chance of storms in New Orleans at 71, still muggy before the front has a chance to slide through. 71 in Memphis, no rainfall expected, and sunshine in Dallas at 74. In the Midwest, there's that autumn air, 46 degrees in Minneapolis, sunshine coming through, 53 in Chicago as you drive down the Eisenhower Expressway, 58 in St. Louis. No wet weather problems to deal with. Out west, we still have some moisture from what was Hurricane Isis several days ago, the remnants, still some wet weather around, and plus that monsoonal moisture, that seasonal reversal of the winds. So wet weather possibly in Missoula at 56, 69 in Los Angeles, and it's going to be chilly in the upper Great Lakes, some pockets in the 30s. And there's your morning commute. Messy in the mid-Atlantic region tomorrow morning. Plan accordingly. Lunch plans look good in Chicago with that high in charge, and that'll stay that way driving home in Chicago, but wet along the Gulf Coast, and we could see some significant rain along the mid-Atlantic region.
Stay with us. TravelWise is coming up right after your local forecast.
Stay with us.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
The jobs of tomorrow are here, thousands of them, waiting to be filled. But you have to know the fields they're in, and you have to have what it takes to master those fields. Because you can't get the jobs of tomorrow until you get the skills of today.
Start by calling ITT Technical Institute for an informative brochure. Call 1-800-823-6313. 1-800-823-6313. Call now.
You know, I've been thinking, and I'm thinking that thinking's not enough. These days, you also have to be a doer, a hands-on troubleshooting, circuit jumping, motherboard pulling problem solver. I'm thinking to be hired, you gotta be wired and inspired. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
For an informative brochure, call ITT Tech now. 1-800-823-6313. 1-800-823-6313.
Chevy Tahoe with a Vortec engine. The most powerful SUV anywhere.
Now the Michelin TravelWise Report, brought to you by Michelin and your local Michelin dealer.
And a Michelin travel trouble spot during these next hours, up through noon tomorrow, in fact, could be parts of the Appalachians, the eastern portion of the Ohio Valley on toward the mid-Atlantic states. Could find some strong thunderstorms to slow your travel. For example, if you'll be making your way from Asheville, North Carolina, on up in toward the Shenandoah Valley. We don't have widespread precipitation through this region, but as a cold front presses southward, there could be some strong thunderstorms firing up here and there. Also along the Gulf Coast and in the west, strong thunderstorms are possible. Not anticipating much in the way of severe weather tomorrow. There could be an isolated case here or there. Rainy travel, and we do put in some green here across the Great Lakes into parts of the Northeast. Looking for some scattered showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms over parts of the Northeast due to the instability as a result of cold air aloft. If you're starting out early in the day, there may be some fog for you over eastern portions of Colorado, neighboring stretches of Kansas and Nebraska. Parts of northern Maine and the southern and central Appalachians could be foggy at times. Across the Northeast specifically through noon tomorrow, look out up and down the I-95 corridor. Not looking for continuous rain, but you could run into some scattered showers here and there. Right now, the radar satellite composite is showing most of the precipitation sweeping across New Jersey and the Delmarva, Thunderstorms primarily through those regions with some light rain stretching now back through the nation's capital. If you're on your way to Washington tomorrow, look for breezy conditions, a high in the mid-70s. New York City breezy and mid-70s as well. Maybe a shower at Boston. Chicago should be dry, 68 for the high. St. Louis 77 and partly cloudy. And it's dry for the most part across the Midwest now as high pressure builds in, and there should be very few weather-related travel problems as you see. Across the south, the I-10 corridor and I-75 through Florida could be wet at times. Even now, there are some showers through the Florida Panhandle. If you're heading to New Orleans tomorrow, 88 and a possible thunderstorm. In the west, dry weather for Los Angeles, 86 and partly cloudy, and 97 and partly cloudy for Las Vegas. Right now, the heavier weather is occurring over portions of Montana, and there could be some storms to slow your travel along Interstate 90 or I-15 through these next hours. International weather. This hour we focus on Europe, and if you're on your way toward the British Isles, the forecast for tomorrow calls for London to be partly cloudy and 63, but back toward Birmingham, England, 61, Dublin mostly cloudy and 63. On the continent, Paris around 70 for the high and partly cloudy skies, 77 and mostly sunny in Rome, Copenhagen 57 degrees and partly cloudy, and looking south toward Africa, Johannesburg 64 and some showers, hazy and 93 for Cairo. Stay with us.
This program was sponsored by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
The zero-pressure Michelin, so revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you, because so much is riding on your tires.
Just stay still. Don't move. Okay, now, does it hurt when I do this? Okay, possible torn meniscus. Is there any pain when I do this? Oh, all right. You've dislocated your patella. I'm gonna have to set it. Hang on.
Okay. You are an orthopedic surgeon.
No, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Time now for Weather and Your Health, sponsored by Malox. And ragweed is posing problems over a wide section of the country. Well, moderate levels through many areas, but the heavier concentrations are around Omaha. The least problems with ragweed in the far west and along the Gulf Coast, as well as northern New England. Checking grass pollen, moderate levels through the Midwest and the Great Lakes, also the Great Basin, and also portions of New England, as well as around Savannah, Georgia, and on down toward Miami. And mold spores, difficulties posed for those who are allergic to mold spores over the Dakotas, and also back through the Middle Atlantic states and on into parts of New England. Well, as you look toward the next 7 days, very likely you have some outdoor plans from time to time, and let's check how the weather could impact you on the weekly planner.
Pollen data provided by the following. This program was sponsored by Malox.
1 minute Malox.
In hospitals, speed counts. Fast-acting medicines, doctors rely on them. So when patients get heartburn, they get 1 minute Malox, not Pepsid AC. Malox goes to work on stomach acid in 1 minute. Pepsid AC could take over 45 minutes to affect acid. 1 minute Malox. Hospitals count on it. Shouldn't you?
The #1 choice for hospitals. It's not Pepsid AC. It's 1 minute Malox.
The original aviators. They were resourceful, determined to get the job done. Sound familiar? Well, you're today's aviators. At TWA, we see that same spirit in you. Because we share it. Even our program to recognize our best customers is named after you. Aviators, with more benefits and more respect for your time in the air. It's just one of the ways we recognize you, today's aviators. We're TWA.
And we want to be your airline.
Each time a disturbance comes off the coast of Africa, we follow that until it develops into a storm or to whatever it does. That way you're prepared, and you're safe, out of harm's way.
Hi, I'm Dick Clark, and now everyone can enjoy the freedom of the new ISIS cellular phone from Philips thanks to prepaid cellular.
Introducing prepaid cellular from Worldwide Direct.
With prepaid cellular phone cards, there's no monthly bills.
Take the phone just in case.
Thank you.
And no contract, no credit check, and no deposit. Got car trouble?
My car's broken down. Can you come and help?
Help is just a call away. So forget those outrageous phone bills. With prepaid cellular phone cards, buying airtime is easy. Order from home and the phone arrives at your door ready to use. Get the Philips ISIS prepaid cellular phone, a $199 value, now just 3 easy payments of $33. And there's no contract, no credit check, no deposit, and no monthly bills.
So pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Now, for only 3 payments of $33, you're guaranteed cellular service regardless of your credit history. Call 1-800-679-0171. Pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.